You're ghosting us, motherfucker. I don't care who you are back in the world. You give up position one more time.
Welcome to Predator Minute, the podcast that breaks down the 1987 action sci-fi horror classic Predator 1 minute at a time. I'm John Zabriskie.
And I'm Jeff Glover.
And today we're not joined by any guests. Oh, sad face.
Oh, just us. God, sorry, everybody.
We had my dad on last week, a can't miss week where he talked all about thermal vision and all his experience working with heat cameras.
Yeah, so that was awesome. That was great.
It was awesome. If you're interested in any of the technical know-how, just listen to last week, minute 19. But we are talking minute 20, the big 2-0 this week. Really exciting, kind of a milestone.
Yeah, we did it. We got to the 20s.
We made it to the 20s. I think they said if you do your first 20, actually, I don't know what they say. Do your first 6 or 7. I think it's 6 or 7 or something like that to say, right, that's how you know you're going to keep with it if you put out that many. So, yeah.
That's the threshold?
I think that's the threshold. So we've done about 3 times that so far, times the threshold.
Well, that's about when you started having me on every week. So
that really is.
What I'm trying to say, John, is you're welcome.
You're welcome. A good song.
Oh, we must be parents. Oh,
there's your first drop right there. Oh, what a good movie. Anyway, not Moana minute, although that'd be a fun minute to do.
Ooh.
Really fun one. A lot of research, I'm sure. Yeah, have the rock on. Anyway, so we're talking minute 20 today. Minute 20 opens with the team making their way through the jungle and ends with Mac apparently telling Dillon a secret. Because he's whispering, right?
We'll get to that, but boy, Mac is angry in that moment.
That's an angry secret.
He's angry. Yeah, he kind of. Well, I'll save it for when we get to that part. But
we'll come back to it.
Yeah, Mac is pretty special in that.
Mac. Oh, sorry, Mac.
All right, so in this minute we get lots of the thermal vision, which is fun. And so for the first 23 25 seconds of this minute, they're really just flashing back and forth between shots of the guys moving through the jungle and then shots from the predator's point of view with the thermal vision. So, which is really cool because, think back to the first time you ever saw this movie. This is a really important moment in the film. It's when it's really solidified that we have this extraterrestrial being that has a different way of looking at our crew. Yeah, there's a lot of really, really great camera work here. And we should probably talk about the score as well, because it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I was picking up on the score, made a note that I was feeling some Back to the Future theme. A little bit, just little xylophone drops. That dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I can picture Marty McFly like running through Times Square, with that music going on in the background.
Yeah, I think something the music does a really good job of in this movie. It's taking these normally mundane scenes of here we are just trekking through the jungle. You could have that against any score of your choice, but choosing something like this that Alan Silvestri has put together, it keeps the suspense up. If you listen to this track or this theme, I think this is still Jungle Trek. It's keeping the suspense up. It's playing it as if it's a chase scene in the background music. And when you're watching it without the sound, you're just saying, oh, okay, they're just making their way through the jungle. There's not a whole lot going on, but the theme to me really sells these liminal spaces, these between big moment spaces.
Yeah, I really love it. I think I just said Times Square. I really meant the clock tower courtyard area where he runs through, not Times Square of New York. But you understand what I mean, listeners.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I can totally picture, I see the parallels there. And I love, you're right, it just keeps the suspense up as if you, on the surface, it's kind of a mundane thing, like they're just doing shots of guys walking through the jungle, shots of the predator vision, but it's the score that really pushes the scene through and gives you the mood that you're looking for.
And going back to the predator vision, to me, what this predator vision is telling us is that as professional as these soldiers are, as kind of quiet and stealthy they're trying to be and spread out, it really it to no effect when it comes to the predator with who's stalking them, because the predator can clearly see them. There's no hiding from this. There's your normal conventional tactics that work against humans. The human naked eye is not going to fly at all.
Yeah, you kind of
alien force.
Yeah, you kind of learn here in this minute that really our guys are kind of effed.
Yeah,
that you start to understand that there's this being, whatever it is seeing them in a different way, but you also learned that they can't see him.
Yeah,
right. Like we get that shot of Arnold, of Dutch. He stops, pauses because he senses something, but he looks up, and then the camera moves, right, and we get Arnold's perspective into the trees. And I watched that part over and over again.
Yes, me too.
And I saw. Did you see anything? I saw nothing.
I saw nothing.
And I think that's intentional, don't you?
Yeah. That happened last minute too, where it zooms into a particular portion of jungle as the music intensifies or the score intensifies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's panning / zooming. In the previous minute, and this minute's just a static shot of the mid upper canopy of the trees. And I don't see any kind of like stealth camouflage wiggle.
Yeah, nothing. You don't get any of that sort of like that effect they use later where it's sort of the clear rippled body. That's what I was looking for. I thought maybe I'd see an outline of that up in the trees if I look close enough.
Yeah.
But no, you see nothing. And I think that's intentional. I think they're setting the stage for the fact that the predator can see them in a way that they can't see it. And on top of that, when they look up into the canopy, they're seeing nothing.
Right.
And it's establishing this, this relationship or the parameters of the cat and mouse game that's about to be played. It's pretty cool. It's a great scene. I really like the way it develops and sets things up.
Do you think it would have been better if we're seeing here in these first couple minutes, if we see just like a little shimmer that like upon the 100th, 200th viewing that you're at least seeing that little ripple? Or do you think it's better just not showing that at all and not giving kind of hint?
That's a good question. I think I actually like the choice of seeing nothing and still just leaving it, up until now, if the viewer has never seen the film before, up until now, they're still just getting the thermal vision shots, and that's it. That's their only clue, their only hint as to what this thing is. And I kind of like that he looks up and sees nothing.
Right.
I think it's pretty effective.
But then he's being looked at, and he's definitely being seen in all his heat glory. Arnold is.
Yeah. The predator can see the outline of Arnold's glistening muscles in the jungle.
Right, giving off a lot of heat there. Arnold.
Giving off his own heat.
Must have just come back from like a heavy workout or something like that.
Yeah,
doing the bison tries. Yeah,
bison tries. I need a smoothie with a shot of protein powder.
Yeah, that's good. I wonder what were they doing back then? What was their whole recovery regimen? Were they doing the old protein smoothies or what?
I always feel like in older movies you see them like crack the raw egg into the glass.
Yeah. Totally.
Just fucking
like
disgusting.
Rocky style. Yeah, I've tried that one time and it was just.
Did you really? No.
It was so gross. It's just. The texture,
Wait. I need to hear the context behind this. Pause.
Well,
pause on Predator a minute. What are we doing here?
I was working out in the garage a lot, like living at home as you do back in the day, and I was just
doing the bison tries,
just
pumping
doing
iron.
The bison tries. Before I knew what I was doing, but like I was all about trying to discover like what are you supposed to put in your diet, to build up that muscle. It's like I remember Rocky, putting like 3 eggs in a glass and just dunking it. And I tried just the one, and it was it was bloody disgusting. I had to probably follow it up with some pizza or something like that, something to really bulk up.
Did you keep it down?
Yeah, I kept it down. I just remember the texture. Just
if
you're not used to like Yeah, that kind of slimy texture, just
It's like the
going
world's
down the gullet.
largest oyster. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not an oyster fan in the least. Yeah. Are you a big oyster fan?
I do like oysters, but
Mm.
I like when I order oysters, I definitely ask about the size. And I do like, because there's usually different types of oysters on a menu if you're at like a seafood restaurant.
Mhm.
And if you talk to the waiter, they can usually tell you, well, these oysters are a little bit smaller. And I tend to go with the smaller size. And then I load them up with like the horseradish, the cocktail sauce, a little squeeze of lemon. And then I slurp that fucker down. And that's good stuff. I love a good oyster, but I've had oysters on the half shell, like raw oysters on the half shell, that are too big.
Sure.
And I was close to gagging. It was just too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. But I this has been your disgusting raw food minute.
Raw food minute.
But no, I like a good oyster.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe in the recommend section, you can think of like the best place people in Seattle area can go for a good raw or cooked oyster experience.
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah.
Oh man. So back to Arnold. So I was mentioning him and his workout regimen and the heat he's given up just because in doing some research for this minute, as you do, I came across the Xenopedia entry for the Predator's biomask. That's what you call the hunter's helmet. And I really just want to talk briefly about the Predator vision itself. If that's good.
Do it.
All right. So in addition to using this thermal vision, this infrared sensing where they can pick up the heat signatures, the Predators also use ultraviolet vision mode and electromagnetic field generator detecting mode, the electrical current mode, the neural version. I'm a little drunk. The neural vision mode, which was really interesting to me because the neural vision mode picks up.
It's hard to say.
It's a hard one to say. It's like rural juror.
It's okay.
The rural juror.
Yeah.
The neural vision, doing a little bit of research, means that the Predator would be able to see who's friend and who's it would be able to tell between friend and foe, in that it could tell between passive civilians and aggressive enemies. I don't know how it would be able to tell that. Maybe it's like picking up on the brain scans or something like that, but it reminded me of like video games where
like it shows the mood of the person.
Yes, it's like you're the red guys, you're the bad guys, you're the blue guys, you're on my team. Don't stab and skin you. All right.
Right. Now we get a glimpse of some of these different modes in some of the Predator sequels. Is that right?
Yes. Namely in Predator 2, it cycles through a few.
That's right. There's that scene in Predator 2 where you can see him like cycle through different modes in his helmet.
In the warehouse raid where they're like spraying him with all the stuff, and it's like, oh, my thermal vision's off, so I have to like cycle through these other ones. It's been a while since I saw that, but I definitely remember him just cycling through trying to find like the right filter. Like, no, that filter is not good. That filter makes me look fat. Like, I want the right the right filter.
It's the Predator's Instagram.
Yes, looking like a snap.
Just finding the right filter.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. The last one that came up in the Xenopedia filter that he had was a life support system. Just making sure that he can breathe on this world, which apparently he can here on this Earth planet. And I was putting a question here at the end to say, what would you want your hunter mask to show? It doesn't have to be one of these, but what would you want? What would you want to be able to detect at a moment's notice?
Boy, what a blood alcohol content
for yourself, right?
And people around me.
People around you.
That might be useful. Boy, I don't. My hunter mask. What special vision could it have? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. What would you want to be able to detect? You like look around, and you've always wondered to yourself, what would I want to be able to filter everything down to be able to detect in the environment right now? I thought my hunter vision would show me the best pizza places because I'm a huge pizza fan.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I love pizza by the slice. It has to be pizza by the slice in order for it to be like ultimately like just expert pizza to me. And like it would absolutely have to be just what are the best places?
Oh, now you got me thinking. So I would want a mask that shows me like which restaurants have the most IPAs on tap.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I like this.
I think it helps because I'm hungry right now. Okay, so pizza and IPAs. That's the name of the episode. I'm going to type it on the document right now. Okay, pizza and IPAs. People are like, aren't they talking about Predator? Like,
what?
Sure.
All right, so...
No, the last thing we need to talk about real quick, because I was talking about killer POVs last week, I was thinking back through, are there any previous altered vision POVs that came to mind before this movie? And of course, there's The Terminator in 1984 with its own Terminator vision. And I think that's actually what it's called. If you search Terminator vision, you'll see that red and black, just dark, grainy vision.
I love that you brought this up. Like, I was excited when you brought this up. I'm sorry, go ahead and keep going. But I just want to say,
I didn't have a whole lot else other than like when they show the Terminator vision.
Yeah.
Also another 20th Century Fox movie. It slows things down sometimes. There's this kind of readout on the screen, these numbers and words, and you're not really sure what they mean most of the time. Then it'll occasionally pop up with like a bigger command or a bigger rule or a bigger identifier.
That's what I was going to say. The main difference is that you get that digital readout on the screen. I always loved that as a kid. When I would watch the Predator, the Terminator, I would try to look at those readouts, and there would always be stuff scrolling really fast, and you just try to catch things in there. That made sense on the screen. And there's less of that in Terminator 1. Terminator 1, it feels like it's more gibberish and numbers and stuff. But if you watch Terminator 2, when it goes into the Predator, or I keep on saying that, the Terminator vision, you can pick out more stuff. Like they're a little more deliberate about the things they showed on the screen.
It has I think T2 has that sequelitis issue of making it a lot cleaner and a lot more like different or delineated digital.
And like crowd pleasing,
and it's all from Arnold's perspective in both movies, but keep in mind in the first one he is definitely the killer, the slasher. In the second one he's the hero, so there's a big change in mood when you're watching it from his perspective.
It's true.
In Terminator 1, and at least I guess in the first part of Terminator 2, where you don't really know what he's doing in whatever 1993 or 91.
But nice connection. It's fun that the previous example of an altered vision POV shot is another Arnold movie. That's
Heck
awesome.
Yeah. Heck yeah. We're going to talk some more Arnold movies later in this episode too.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to the end of the minute, around second 45. And this is when we get, it's kind of I watched this over and over again, and I kept on envisioning or hearing in my head like a dun, 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 like a circus soundtrack as Dillon slips on the log and rolls down the hill like whoop. It's kind of comical, but he slips and he kind of falls down the hill, loses his balance, and we get a cut, and the camera's back in the jungle, kind of a close up of Dillon as he starts to make his way back towards the camera, and then he gets cut off by Mac. And Mac does kind of a Tobias Fuke-esque like emergence from the jungle, because when you watch this a minute over and over again, it's reminiscent of that, because all of a sudden he just sort of, like, the camera pans over and it's just like boom, there's Mac, and you're like, whoa, where did he come from? It's like Tobias Fuke coming out of the I'm afraid I just blew myself.
That is so good. And like later on he has like this There's also like the moments where he's blue and he comes out of like the painted sign, or like the
right.
he's all silver and he's like comes out of like this silver movie poster or something like that.
Yes.
And you have to watch that over and over to catch that. But I mean, you're never going to see Mac in this minute until he actually pops into frame. It would have been kind of cool if you kind of see him staring there off to the side, just waiting for Dillon to come right into his face. But
yeah, because in the wide shot, you don't see him at all, of course. So
no, but the wide shot does an awesome, or John McTiernan does an awesome job here of one, editing, because he's going from wide to close up, like just like that. I think it's actually close up to wide to close up. Yeah. It switches back and forth, and that's some amazing editing. If you've watched enough movies and you watch how movies are edited, or how badly some movies are edited, where continuity falls by the wayside as soon as you go from something like a wide to a close up.
It's true, because you don't want to, like, when you come back into the close up, you don't want to feel like the audience is seeing him slip again, right? Like you want it to feel like the movement you see in the wide shot should flow naturally into the movement of the close up. And that you're right. That's pretty. I didn't think about that when I was first watching it, but
I mean, the only time
pretty seamlessly.
Only time I want to see them like showing something 3 or 4 times happening in a row from different angles is an awesome explosion. Let's be honest. Something blows up, then they'll switch to another angle, and then it's like restart the sequence, then something blows up.
Well, have I got news for you, John?
Oh,
you are in luck. Coming up soon, we're going to see some explosions.
Yes. I'm hoping. I heard this movie has some explosions. I really can't wait to see some explosions.
So look at like second 53. You see what I'm talking about? We get the close up of Mac or Dillon. And then all of a sudden, like, the camera just pans to the right slightly, and boom, there's Mac. Oh,
right. How did we not see Mac that whole time?
I know. It's like he's sitting on his hands and knees, like, waiting for him.
And so the wide shots are there to remind us, like, hey, this is a bigger environment that Dillon's in. He's totally making too much noise. Luckily, nothing has happened right away to really give away any positioning or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But we are faked out by the high strings right before he slips. It hits those high violin strings, and then he slips, and then everything resets, and then he starts, like you're saying, about a foot away from the camera, starting to make his way slightly camera right, slightly toward the camera. And you hear the high strings again, and then Mac's face is right there. What does Max say? Can you? I mean, just for our minute.
What does Max say?
What does he say?
He says, "You're ghosting."
Do you have it in front of you?
I do.
Okay, great.
He says, "You're ghosting us, motherfucker. I don't care who you are back in the world, but you give our position one more time," and that's when the minute ends.
Oh my gosh! I wonder what he's going to say. He's like, "You give our position one more time." We're gonna throw some fisticuffs around. What do you think?
You give our position one more time, I'm gonna kick you in the balls.
You give our position away one more time, we're gonna have a birthday party.
You give away our position one more time, we're gonna sit down and split this cupcake.
We're going to talk about what you did and why you should feel bad.
I think so. So I think what do you think the purpose of this quick little scene is? With him slipping and falling, and then running into Mac here, and Mac kind of laying into him a little bit.
Gosh, I mean, to me, that's funny you bring that up, because it's exactly in my notes following this section.
Almost like I'm looking at your notes.
Yeah. To me, the scene right here at the end of this minute and bridging into next minute means that it's reminding us that Dillon is the outsider of this group, that he's not as sly or stealthy as the rest of the team, that he's out of his element.
In the field. Yeah.
Or experience. It's been a long time. It's been too long for him in the field, and he's jumping right back into action.
Yeah, and this really kind of highlights his vulnerability here, right?
Yeah, not only that, but it's like highlighting just right, the team and how they feel towards him, and if Mac is if he's any indication, then right, it's not looking good for Dillon in the sense of being a part of this team if they're feeling this way.
No, it's okay. Instead of marching through the jungle confidently, right, he's like sidestepping over a hill, slipping, regaining his balance, and now he's getting kind of chewed out by one of the team members, and not even the leader of the team, right? Like, so his role in the totem pole is kind of being established here, in the fact that they're in the middle of the jungle, they're threatened, they don't know what's going on, and they've clearly got their leader that they trust, which is Dutch Arnold, and Dillon's place on the ladder, on the totem pole, is quickly falling to the bottom.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning, right, Mac as not the leader, but someone who to this point, I think has had all of 2 or 3 lines in the movie, just like most other characters. So this is giving us
and the greatest shaving scene in all of the film.
Yes, great. He's a great shaver. He just you can't keep that bald head clean enough. It's just even in jungle action, whip out the blade. But I think it's also partly a red herring in that you think maybe, okay, they're being watched. Is Dillon going to be one of these classic goobers who just kind of stumbles into an easy kill for whoever's tracking them? And right, spoiler alert, like nobody is taken out that way in this movie. Nobody's like kind of stumbling into a closet door or like cowardly hiding from the hunter as they meet their own dooms.
There's no, you're right. You can't point to like anyone making a mistake here, right?
Right.
They just get slaughtered by the predator.
Yep. Just taken out easy.
Yeah, and that kind of speaks to the sort of the doomsday situation that are in, the inevitability of their situation, right? Like as all this is building, as the tension is building, as they're going through the jungle, you start to realize that nobody is safe here. And I mean, we haven't gotten to a first death yet of one of our main characters, but once that starts happening, you kind of realize, most people in this movie that I have seen so far are going to die.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not a lot of survivors in this movie. That's why it's not called Lots of Survivors. It's called Predator.
Everybody lives.
Everybody lives. They got to the chopper.
They got to the chopper and flew away. End credits. All right, cool. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the minute, right?
Yeah, just the last couple notes I have are back to the field manual for the Army, 1982. Good old field manual.
I like this entry that you
awesome.
Out. Yeah,
thanks.
Is good.
Jungle Operations. This is page 5-26, talking about being silent in the jungle. It says that silence in both voice and movement is essential at all times during a jungle patrol. With practice, it is possible to move steadily, deliberately, and carefully through the jungle, parting the undergrowth instead of crashing through it, Dillon, or cutting through it with machetes. That's like Billy. Right. Troops should avoid walking on dry leaves, sticks, rotten wood, Dillon, or anything that would make noise, Dillon. Machetes should be used to cut trails only as a last resort. Talking should be done in a whisper. And arm and hand signals should be used and cash whenever possible. So again, my light theory being that the scriptwriters, John and Jim Thomas, were reading through the Jungle Operations field manual for the Army as they're writing the script, saying, "Oh, okay, if they're gonna talk, they should be whispering," and that's exactly what Mac is doing. He delivers this awesome whispered line, intense, just in Dillon's face, like, "This, you're ghosting us, motherfucker." God, what a fun thing to say.
Yeah, You're ghosting us, motherfucker. No, I love this because I love the idea that this is actually in the field manual that they recommend trying to move through the jungle quietly.
Yes.
Like to me, when I read that, that's not something that I would think would be an easy, feasible thing.
Yeah.
Right? You know, but they're saying that if you, in the manual here, they're saying that if you, kind of follow these rules and do these things, that you can move through the jungle quietly. And that's pretty interesting because I would imagine, kind of tromping through and pushing out leaves and stepping on sticks.
Rotten wood.
It seems like an impossible feat to try to go through the jungle without making noise. And here they're saying that no, it is possible. And I find that pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever tried to sneak up on someone without making any noise?
Not successfully. No.
Like you play hide and go seek with your kids, right? Do you ever do the thing where you're trying to be so quiet?
But it's weird, like just your body being in a room like makes noise.
Yeah. You're breathing, like you can basically sense sometimes when someone's like in the room with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully someone you know, and that's just some like, oh my God, who's that?
Jason Voorhees. Yeah.
It's like he's laughing. So be quiet and move to the jungle, which, right, is like, we read that as, oh, that's natural. You should definitely be moving quietly as you're tracking this guerrilla trail. But like you're saying, that sounds so hard. You're carrying all your gear.
Hard. Yeah.
You're going for who knows how long, how many hours, how many miles.
Yeah.
And it just, don't make a sound. No sound.
And as we learned soon enough, this team just gives up on that pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. They start making some noise.
They make some
just
noise.
A couple minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're leading up to an iconic scene here with Old Painless, right?
Painless.
And it's come to my attention that you reached out and got some favorite weapons from some famous iconic weapons from the Movie by Minute Facebook group.
I did. I posted that question, I think yesterday or today. I don't remember. And lots of responses came through, which was awesome.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just run through them. And if you have something to say, just hop on there.
Yeah.
Give like a shout or something like that. Or like you're ghosting us, or
motherfucker,
or a Mac. That's the cue. If you have something to say, just yell out Mac.
All right.
Mac.
Okay. So Andrew mentioned the gun from Brave Star, and he also mentioned the Atlantean sword from Conan, another Arnold movie.
I'm not familiar with Brave Star. I, of course, know the sword from Conan.
Yeah, Brave Star looks to be this 87 to be exact. September of 87, I think, is when it debuted. And it's kind of this space cowboy and his horse going on adventures. And I don't know, likely saving or whatever, solving crimes, going from planet to planet. I'm not really fully sure, but I do know this, that when I Google image search Brave Star, one of the first images to pop up were this cartoon cowboy and cartoon horse doing the Predator handshake. No doubt about it. What in the world? And this is, like I said, this is 87, so they would have seen the
well
movie.
Done, Andrew. Nicely done.
Well done. Yeah. So
what else do you got?
I have Chris showing the bone flying through the air during the caveman scene, or the primate scene of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a pretty good one. That's a little out of the box, but
yeah.
I love that movie. I love 2001, and that is a very iconic weapon. It is a weapon in that scene. It's when it's supposed to symbolize when primates, pre-human beings, first decided to use a tool as a weapon.
Right. So this would be okay. So it's the bone is meant to symbolize the first weapon. Then awesome.
Yeah.
How much more iconic could you? John Ingle from Alien/Aliens Minute mentioned the pulse rifle from Alien that Ripley's holding. I think all the
classic.
Space Marines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Like James Cameron made famous.
Mm-hmm.
Walt mentioned the 44 Magnum from Dirty Harry.
Oh yeah.
Eric.
Lucky.
Yeah. Well, do you? Punk. There's a drop for you. Eric mentioned the lightsaber. I believe Eric is someone who said he would want to be on the show when I first announced that I'll be doing Predator Minute. So I'll have to look back at my notes and see when he wants to be on the show.
Oh, nice.
So thanks, Eric.
Trying to take my job, Eric. I see how it is.
Eric, or no, I already said Eric. What am I thinking? Oh, Jimmy said the Walter PPK. That's the one my dad mentioned last week. James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond. Yeah, that's great.
Walter PPK.
Yeah.
Hillary talked about Han Solo's blaster.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I was gonna make a sound effect. I don't have a good sound effect. Zap. Yeah. Tierney talked about the machete from Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah, boy, that's a dark movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Zach mentioned Strider's Ranger sword from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Zach Luna is one of the hosts of Spider-Man Minute.
Nice.
And I did a little bit of research to try to see what was the name of the sword, and the sword does not have a name according to the Lord of the Ringspedia. I don't know, Hobbitpedia or something like that. So it's just unnamed, and that's what Zach confirmed as well. Josh talked about Travis Bickle's sleeve gun from Taxi Driver, the Smith & Wesson Escort, it's called, where he has a little trick thing that sends the gun up to his hand from inside of his sleeve. I haven't really seen Taxi Driver, so taking his word for it. Just did a little bit of research to find out the name of the gun.
And then, fact, I have also never seen Taxi Driver.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. I have to put on there.
It's on my eternal list of classics I need to see. Yeah, for sure.
And then Jeff, our esteemed co-host, put up Ash's chainsaw hand saying,
"Yeah, I had to. It needed to be represented."
He just wanted to hear it again.
I did.
Groovy.
I needed to hear it again on the podcast.
Yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for those suggestions and those answering our question on the Movie by Minute Facebook group. That's a pretty cool Facebook group. I recently just became a member, and lots of fun posts and information and some pretty great entries into the Movie by Minute world. So yeah, if you're new to Movie by Minute podcast, check out that Facebook group. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, good suggestion there. Good call.
Yeah.
And the website cataloging all, at this point, 117 Movies by Minute podcasts is moviesbyminutes.com. And if you want to talk about the progenitors, the beginners of all this Movies by Minutes madness, look no further than Star Wars Minute, started by Alex Robinson and Pete the Retailer. Sorry, Pete the Retailer. I'm saying Pete the Retailer because he actually has a canon character named after him now, named Pete de Retalia. So whenever I hear Pete the Retailer, I'm thinking Pete de Retalia. So head there to see the whole catalog of movies broken down in my minutes. Like I said, 117 different podcasts, which would add up to many more than that number of movies, because a lot of these podcasts are breaking down whole series of movies in the minute by minute format. Part where we talk recommends. Should we have like a stinger for this section, do you think? Like something to indicate that we're starting recommends? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, some sort of little musical drop of some sort.
Yeah. It would have to be of someone like really liking something in a movie or something like that. Some kind of soundbite where someone's like, I love this, or something like this. We'll think about that.
Right. Yeah, we'll think about that.
Plug it in.
Yeah, there's got to be something good.
Yeah.
All right. So is that on me for a recommend?
It's on you.
Okay. Let's see here. So I didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot this week. I've been pretty busy with the holidays finishing up and kind of having to get back into work. I'm sure you understand. Oh, wait, you don't.
Oh,
you're on paternity leave.
That's right.
Yeah. But I watched the new Black Mirror movie that dropped onto Netflix.
Ooh.
And so I'm sure many of you out there are familiar with Black Mirror. It's a great sci-fi anthology. Every episode is a different story, and there's 3 seasons worth of it on Netflix, and it's a fantastic show. Probably one of my favorite things that's been made for TV in the last decade or so. But the people behind Black Mirror made a movie, and what is fun and interesting and different about this movie is it's a choose your own adventure style movie.
Ooh.
So as you watch it, there are points in the film when you have to decide what the character does, and using your remote you choose, and the movie will change depending on your choice.
Ooh, question. At what point of the movie can you whip out the minigun nicknamed Old Painless and just take care of everything right then and there?
Just kill everybody in the screen.
Yeah.
Old Painless is waiting.
Immediately. I wasn't quite sure what the experience was going to be like, because it sounds like kind of a novelty, but I have to admit it was super fun. I watched the whole thing and immediately went back and started it over again, choosing different things to see what would happen. And apparently there are, I think I read online that there's 20 different endings.
My gosh.
Depending on choices you make. Yeah, there's over like 5 hours of footage that was shot for this thing. And so if you, depending on what paths you choose, the movie might end in 30 minutes. It might end in an hour and 45 minutes. And so I went back through it a couple times and chose different things to see what different endings came up. And highly recommend. Super fun experience. Black Mirror the name of the movie is Bandersnatch.
Oh, he was so good in Sherlock. I loved him.
Right. But super fun. So check that out on Netflix, Bandersnatch from the Black Mirror.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, and that's been causing quite the stir since it's been released. People just been tweeting and Facebooking.
Yeah, I guess this is nothing new.
All about
I guess this. Yeah, hot take, Bandersnatch is good, coming to you from Predator Podcast.
That's interesting, because isn't Black Mirror a show?
It is. So Black Mirror, the show, is every episode is between 45 minutes and an hour, but each show stands alone as its own movie, sort of mini movie, and they all have to do with future technology of some kind. But there's no continuity from one episode to the next in terms of narrative or story. They all stand alone. It's an anthology, and as with any anthology, you get some that are better than others. But I have been constantly impressed by how good every episode is, even if I don't like it as much as maybe another one.
Awesome!
It's a pretty impressive project. Pretty impressive show.
That's some high praise right there.
Yeah, it's really good. Black Mirror.
Checking out this little thing called, and it's that's on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix. It's exclusively on Netflix.
Exclusively, okay. So I'm not going to go to the theater and then hit the little buttons to say minigun.
Got to use your Roku remote like I did.
All right, will do. Love that Roku. Yeah. Hey, speaking of, wow, that just dropped right in. My plug. Are you all done with your plugs, or you want to plug more?
I'm done. That's it. Right. That's all I got today.
Okay. So our plug music's run a little bit long. That's good. It's really stretching that first feel. That right. I don't know. Maybe you can write something. I don't know. Do you write music? No, you're DJ. That's right.
Yeah. No, I only play other people's music.
Okay. You can stitch together some kind of recommend mix. I love it. The Recomix, we'll call it.
I might be able to do that. Yeah.
Love it. Oh, that'd be awesome. Have some original content song here. Oh, that'd be great. Love it. Okay. So I'm going to recommend a podcast episode. I'm a long time listener of We Hate Movies. It's a movie review podcast. They're coming up almost to 400 episodes now. So they've been going for 8, 9, 10 years or something like that. I've been listening to them since I want to say 2013, so going on 6 years for myself.
Wow, that's funny. It's funny you say that. I just recently, in the last couple weeks, started listening to We Hate Movies.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
it's great. And
I'm shocked I did not start earlier.
Yeah,
like,
they're
crazy.
They are amazing. I just want to say that up front. Like overall, the shows are really well produced. The host banter just nonstop, just
super funny.
Super funny. Yeah. You can tell they're going for more of an improv feel as they're going through the movie breakdown. Yeah. But just overall, I highly recommend the podcast. They do one of my favorite things that movie review podcasts do, and really the only movie review podcasts that I listen to do, is go through the movies sequentially. They'll talk about like every single scene as it happens, and not just kind of like the movie overall or as a whole. I've tried different movie podcasts where like I try to listen and they're just kind of bouncing all over the place. They don't have much of a structure, and that just drives me nuts. That they just follow the GD, timeline of the movie, and like it's just more funny that way with how you're coming to realizations. But they've always done that, and just with their impressions, they kill it with their impressions. And the episode I want to recommend is from last week. They recorded an episode for Batman 1989, the one directed by Tim Burton.
Nice.
Yeah, because in December, what they did, they changed their title to We Love Movies for the month of December, and it was all these movies they really appreciate, like Back to the Future, Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. That's fun. Yeah, I was going to say, like, you can't bag on Batman from...
Oh, but I mean, all the same, they review it just like they're reviewing the movies when they're doing the movies that are really terrible. But really, they're also talking about what they appreciate about the movies. But Batman 1989, awesome. Just in the last year or so, I've listened to them as one of their highlights, I would say, just because they really, really break down the awesome Nicholson impressions, the Pat Hingle impressions. He plays the commissioner. The William Hootkins impression. William Hootkins is the guy who played Porkins in Star Wars and who played the Top Men guy, the guy who had that line at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's kind of all over the place, but he plays this guy Eckhart, and so they keep coming back to this detective. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. But they do awesome with the impressions, including, of course, our favorite Jack Palance. Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash.
That's so funny you bring that up, because like I said, I just recently started listening to that podcast. Right, it was recommended to me. I can't remember by who, and I was just scrolling through their podcast history, and randomly I just decided to turn on an older one they did a couple Halloweens ago, and they reviewed Brain Scan, which is an old horror movie from the mid-90s starring Edward Furlong of T2 fame. And the guy keeps on doing this impression of the bad guy, the demon in Brain Scan is named Trickster, which is like the worst name ever. It's like so generic. And Trickster communicates with Edward Furlong through a DVD or like a CD-ROM of like a video game.
Right.
And they do this impression of like the demon, and he's like talking to his assistant. His assistant's name is apparently Jeremy, and he's like, Jeremy, please mail out the CD-ROMs to all the people around the world. Jeremy. And he keeps on talking about Jeremy, this fake personal assistant. Anyway, you can cut this out. No. But it was pretty hilarious. So I also recommend on the limited listening I have had of them.
Awesome. Yeah, there's one episode they did a few years ago. It must have been 2014, I'm thinking. I was biking around downtown Everett because we had like stopped the sailboat in Everett for a night or a couple days or something like that. I was biking around, listening to them, and they're doing an episode on The Day After Tomorrow. Remember that movie with Dennis Quaid?
Yes.
And they were doing this Louis Anderson impressions. Their whole bit became Louis Anderson is like the last the last man alive, and he's recreating like all of television and movie media just all by himself. That is a high recommend. Is the Day After Tomorrow episode from them, because
oh my god,
they're doing all these iconic lines from movies. I can't even remember, but just all in the Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson. I'll be back.
Exactly. You're going to us, motherfucker.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah.
You can find our music at Chaosware. That's KAOSWARE. And then Smooth McGroove does the a cappella versions of songs that you'll occasionally hear playing in the background, like for the Jungle Operations Field Manual Guide for the Army, 1982. And this is the section of the show where we ask, Jeff, where can we find you?
Oh boy. You can find me on Twitter at Carl_Hungus. That's Carl with a K.
My name is Carl, ich bin expert.
_Hungus 314.
Awesome. Carl Hungus Pie.
That's right.
Carl, ich bin expert, or whatever he says in the clip.
Yes. I like in The Big Lebowski when he's like, I'm here to fix the cable.
Hello, meine Dispatcher says there's something wrong with deine Kabel.
Here's my friend, by the way, and she's topless.
Yeah,
like, wait,
she's
what?
topless. Oh, what are you doing here? I'm here to fix the cable.
All right, so people can find you there, and if people want to email the show about your favorite kind of vision, what it would show, you let us know at predatorminute@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. The direct link you can find, the RSS you can find at soundcloud.com/Predator Minute Podcast. And gosh, I don't think I have anything else. So for Predator Minute, I've been John Zabriskie.
And I'm Jeff Glover.
And until next minute,
stick around.
The last episode, you ended so sadly. It was so great. Where my dad's audio cut out.
It cut out.
Stick around.
Stick around.
It was so fitting for the moment. We are recording. We're giving it a few seconds to make it easy to remove the noise later.
Does that work?
That'll do it. I'm going to remove all patterns that show up like that.
All right. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
It's all right. It's all right. No, that was terrible. You're ghosting us, Jeff.
You're ghosting us.
Ghosting us, motherfucker.
Motherfucker. All right, we need some silence.
All right, jeez, guys.
God.